Welcome to practice test number 3, expressions and equations. You will find this on page 21. So let's go ahead and set up your scratch paper, fold it in half, and then draw a line straight down the middle. On the right side, upper right hand corner, write down your name, today's date, and your section. And on the left side, write down practice test number 3, expressions and equations. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready to proceed, restart the video. All right, here we go with problem number 1. It says, enter the value of z that makes the given equation true. And the equation is 11 times z equals 121. So on your scratch paper, here's problem number 1. Write down 11 times z equals 121. And go ahead and draw a line straight through the equal sign. And label it left and right. So always start with the variable, touch the variable z, and figure out what's happening to it. Here, it's being multiplied by 11. So do the opposite. Instead of multiplying by 11, divide by 11 on the left, and divide by 11 on the right. The 11 and 11 will cancel each other out, and you're left with z equals, and now go figure out 121 divided by 11. Here's 121 divided by 11. So if 11 divided by 11 equals 1, then 1 times 11 equals 11. True, subtract. And again, 11 divided by 11 equals 1, and 1 times 11 equals 11. Subtract, final answer is 11. So the solution to this problem is z equals 11. Write it in the answer box. And problem number 1 is closed. Here is question number 2. Consider the inequality 12 is less than x. And we're going to test x against every single one of these values here. So we need to test 12 is less than negative 40. Is that true or false? 12 is less than 0. True or false? 12 is less than negative 5. 12 is less than 13. And 12 is less than 21. So instead of using x, we're going to substitute every single one of these values and answer whether it's true or whether it's false. So let's go set up our scratch paper. Here's question number 2. And we need 5 lines to test all of these 5 values here. So write down 12 is less than negative 40. 12 is less than 0. 12 is less than negative 5. 12 is less than 13. And 12 is less than 21. And we're going to answer yes or no about whether each of these statements is true. So go ahead and write a number line on the bottom so that you can see the answer. Here's 0. We have positive and negative. And remember, positive numbers are always bigger. Negative numbers are always smaller. And if you get 2 numbers that are both negative, whichever number is closer to 0 is the bigger one. So let's go take a look at the first statement. Here we have 12 is less than negative 40. And since 12 is positive, it's bigger than negative 40, so this statement is false. Check off no for the first one. Next one, 12 is less than 0. And again, that is false, so check off no. Here we have 12 is less than negative 5, and that's false because 12 is greater than negative 5. So once again, check no. Next one, 12 is less than 13. And that is true. So check off yes. And finally, 12 is less than 21. That is also true. So check off yes. So your answers in your answer booklet are no, 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 yes, and yes. Check off no, 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 yes, and yes. And problem number 2 is done. Go ahead and close it off. Here is problem number 3. Enter the value of 42 divided by the quantity 2 plus 5 times 3. And remember, we need to follow the order of operations. So on your paper, write down PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division in order from left to right, whichever comes first. And then finally, addition and subtraction in order from left to right, whatever comes first. So go ahead and copy down this expression on your scratch paper, and be sure to make the parentheses bigger so that you notice that they have to come first. So here is number 3. We have 42 divided by the quantity 2 plus 5 times 3. And remember that when you use PEMDAS, parentheses has to come first. So again, make those parentheses darker so that you know to do this first. So inside the parentheses, 2 plus 5 equals 7. So you're going to have 42 divided by 7 times 3. Write it down. Here's 42 divided by 7 times 3. And now all we're left with are divisions and multiplications. So here are the multiplications and divisions, and we're going to do them in order, left to right, whatever comes first. So here we go. First up, we have 42 divided by 7, that's 6. 6 times 3 is 18. So your final answer for box number 3 is 18. Write it down in the answer box. And number 3 is closed. Here is question number 4. Enter the value of x that makes the given equation true. So copy this down on your scratch paper. X plus 7 1/3 equals 18 2/3. So here's problem number 4. X plus 7 1/3 equals 18 2/3. And go ahead and draw a line straight to the equal sign. Make that a little darker. There you go, line straight to the equal sign. Label it left and right. All right, always touch the variable first. So here I'm touching the variable x. Find out what's happening to it, and then undo it by doing the opposite. So here, x is being added with 7 1/3. So do the opposite. Don't add 7 1/3. We're going to subtract 7 1/3 on the left, and subtract 7 1/3 on the right. That way you keep the equation in balance. So 7 1/3 minus 7 1/3 cancels out. You can cross it off. And all you're left with is x. Write it down. Touch the equal sign before you write it down. And now let's go simplify this. We'll do the fractions first. And this is an easy problem because there's no regrouping. So here's 2/3 minus 1/3. And 2/3 minus 1/3 gives you 1/3. And now 18 minus 7 gives you 11. And this is as simple as we can make it. So our final answer is x equals 11 and 1/3. Write it in your answer box. 11 and 1/3. So problem 4 is done. Go ahead and close it off on your answer sheet or on your scratch paper. Here is question number 5. It says, select all the sets of numbers that are possible values for x in the inequality x is greater than -2. So to make this easier to see, write this inequality closer to the answer choices. X is greater than -2. Write it down right over here. X is greater than -2. So for each line, we need to test every single value against x and see if it gives us a true statement. So for this first line, instead of x is greater than -2, we're going to try -1 is greater than -2. Then we'll try the 0. Is 0 greater than -2? And then finally we'll test the 5. Is 5 greater than -2? So let's start off with this first line here, and then we'll do every line after that as well. So first one, test every single one of these values instead of x. So first we have -1 is greater than -2. And this is true. They're both negative, but the one that's closer to 0 is greater. So -1 is greater than -2. -1 passes the test. Now test 0. 0 is greater than -2. True or false? And that is true. So 0 passes the test. And now test 5. 5 is greater than -2. That's true as well. So 5 also passes the test. And since all of the values in line 1 pass the test, that means line 1 is a correct choice. Check it off. I'll switch to blue. Next, we're going to check every single one of these values instead of x. So we'll try 2, and then 4, and then 6. First one, let's test 2. 2 is greater than -2. True or false? And that is true, so check it off. Next, test 4. 4 is greater than -2. And that's true as well. So let's check off 4. And finally, test 6. 6 is greater than -2. That is true as well. So check off 6. And every single value in the second line passes the test. So line 2 is also a correct choice. Time for the third row. Let's test -2, 0, and 2. Starting with -2. First, we have -2 is greater than -2. And that's false. -2 is not greater than -2. -2 is equal to -2. So this first choice, I'll do it in green, this is false. And as soon as one of them is false, the whole line will be incorrect. So you don't even have to test the others. Line 3 will be incorrect. All right, switching to purple for the fourth line. Let's go test every single one of these values. So first one, we'll try -6, and then -4, and then -2. Starting with -6. -6 is greater than -2. They're both negative, so whichever is closer to 0 is bigger. So -2 is bigger than -6. So this means -6 is actually less than -2, not greater than. So this choice is wrong. And as soon as one of them is wrong, you can cross off the whole line. So the correct choices for number 5 are line 1 and line 2 only. So we need to write something on our scratch paper for every problem. So here is line 5, or problem 5. Just draw 4 check boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 1 and 2 were correct, so check them off. And line 3 and 4 were incorrect, So those are incorrect choices. Just cross off those choices. So your correct choices are line 1 and line 2, just like it says here. Problem 5 is close. Go ahead and draw your line and close off that problem. Here is problem number 6. Select all of the expressions that are equivalent to 4 times the quantity, 2x plus y plus 2y. So let's go ahead and write down that expression on our scratch paper. Here is problem number 6. And once again, write 4 times the quantity. Give yourself lots of space inside. 2x plus y plus 2y. And we have to select all of the choices that are equivalent to that expression. So here are our 4 choices. So in our scratch paper, let's go ahead and see if we can simplify this expression. Write down equals. And make the parentheses bigger. So inside the parentheses, I'm going to look for apples and apples. And I notice that this y here can be combined with 2 more y's over here. So y plus 2 more y's is going to give me 3 y's. So on the next line, write down 4 times the quantity. And we have 2x plus 3 y's right over here. Write down 2x plus 3y. So all I did was add this 1 y and 2 more y's together to get the 3 y's over here. And now let's multiply this. So I'll do my red step first. We'll do 4 times 2x. And then my blue step, I'll do 4 times 3y. Here we go. Red step is first. So 4 times 2x equals 8x. Write it down. Now for my blue step, we have 4 times 3y gives you 12y. So write down plus 12y. So one of my possible answers is 8x plus 12y. And does it match one of these choices over here? And you'll notice that 8x plus 12y actually matches this first choice right here. So go ahead and check off 8x plus 12y as one of our correct choices. And remember, the shape matters. So if you have squares as your answer choices, it means there could be more than one correct answer. So let's go see if any of the other choices are correct as well. So the next one, second one is 6x plus 7y, and that doesn't match this because we're looking for 8x's and 12y's. So this one here is a no. Cross off that one. And here, the third one, we have 8x plus y plus 2y. So if you put this y and 2 more y's together, this will give you 3 y's. So this will be 8x plus 3y. And that's not correct because we don't need 8x plus 3y. We need 8x plus 12y's. So the third choice is also not correct. And now let's take a look at this one here. So we have 8x plus 4y plus 8y. And here I notice that we actually have apples and apples. So you can take these 4 y's here, put them together with these 8 y's, and here you can have 12 y's. So let's go ahead and wrap that up in parentheses. And on the next line, we have 8x plus 12y. And notice that this actually matches this. So the fourth line is also a correct choice. Go ahead and check it off. Here's how we can verify that on our scratch paper as well. So on your scratch paper, go write down the original expression. We have 4 times the quantity 2 x's plus 1 y plus 2 more y's. And let's go ahead and multiply this. So we'll have 3 steps. We have our red step, followed by a blue step. Let me change the color. Red step followed by blue step, and then followed by a green step. Here we go. Write this down. Red step. 4 times 2x equals 8x. Blue step. 4 times y equals 4y. So plus 4y. And finally, the green step. We have 4 times 2y equals 8y. So write down plus 8y. So you'll notice that we have the expression 8x plus 4y plus 8y. And if you go back to the first choice, here it is again. 8x plus 4y plus 8y matches this. 8x plus 4y plus 8y. So you can see another way that the fourth choice is also correct. So the 2 correct choices are line 1 and line 4. Problem 6 is done. Go ahead and close off the problem by drawing a line. Here is problem number 7. Select all of the expressions that are equivalent to 2k plus 2 plus k plus 3 plus 2k. So we need to see which of these expressions is equivalent to this original expression here. Let's write down on our scratch paper. Here's problem number 7. And copy down this original expression. So we have 2k's plus 2 plus another k plus 3 plus 2 more k's. And I'm going to color code this to make it easier to see. So let's go look for apples and apples. And I'm going to put all the k's together. So here's 2k's right here, plus another k, plus 2 more k's. So 2k's plus another k gives you 3k's, and then 3k's plus 2 more of them gives you 5k's. So in blue, I'll write down 5k. Now add the constants. 2 plus 3 more just gives you 5. So write down in red, plus 5. So one of the correct answer choices is right here. We have 5k plus 5. And if we look at the answer choices, you'll notice that it actually matches one of the choices that we have here. So 5k plus 5 matches the third choice right here. There's 5k plus 5. So one of the correct choices is the third one right here. Now let's go look at the other answer choices, starting with this one here. This one says we have k to the 5th power, 5 powers of k. But if you look at our correct answer, there's only 1 power of k. So that means that the first answer choice is incorrect. You can cross it off. How about the second one? Again, this is showing that we have 5 powers of k, when the correct answer shows that there's only 1 power of k. So again, because of that exponent there, that means the second answer choice is incorrect as well. How about the fourth one? Let's go see whether this one is true, and we'll check those in 2 different ways. So first of all, let's go back to our scratch paper, and we're going to see if this is equivalent to this. So one way that we're going to check is we're going to factor. Write down factor. And you'll notice in this expression, 5k plus 5, that we can actually simplify this. So we can divide by 5, divide by 5. So on the next line, write down 5, and give yourself plenty of space in the parentheses. And we're writing a 5 here because you can divide by 5 and divide by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. Write down 1. And this 5 divided by 5 is also 1. So this here is what goes inside the parentheses. So we have 1k, you can just write down k, plus 1. Write down plus 1. And this is another one of the answer choices. So if you take a look, that actually matches this right here. 5 times the quantity, k plus 1, matches 5 times the quantity, k plus 1. So line number 4 is also a correct choice. Now let's go check that another way. So on your test booklet, let's go multiply this. So we have a red step, draw this line. And then we have a blue step, draw. Here we go, red step. 5 times k is 5k, write it down. Blue step, 5 times 1 equals 5. So in blue, write down plus 5. And you'll notice that 5k plus 5 matches 5k plus 5. So that's another way to show that both of these expressions are equivalent to each other as well. So the correct choices for problem number 7, line 3 and line 4. Go ahead and close off box 7, and this problem is done. Here is problem number 8. Consider the inequality x is less than 1. It says, determine whether each value of x makes the inequality true. Select yes or no for each value. So the inequality that we're using is x is less than 1, and we're going to test each of these values instead of x. So first we'll try negative 5/8 is less than 1. Is that true or false? Then we'll do 1/7 is less than 1. True or false? And so on. So let's go set up our scratch paper first. Here's problem 8. And then go ahead and copy down this inequality. X is less than 1. Here's x is less than 1. And instead of x, we're going to test every single one of these values. To make it easier though, I noticed that we have positive and negative values here. We have regular fractions as well as improper fractions. So these 3 improper fractions, let's go change them to mixed numbers to make it easier to see the answer. So for the first one, we have negative 7/2. So 7 divided by 2 is a no, but 6 divided by 2 is a yes. 6 divided by 2 is 3. What's going to be left over is 1/2. So this is the same as negative 3 and 1/2. These are equivalent to each other. Next one, 3/2. So 3 divided by 2 is a no, but 2 divided by 2 is a yes. That gives you 1. And what's going to be left over? We have 1/2 is going to be left over. So 3/2 is equal to 1 and 1/2. This will make it easier to see the answer. And finally, let's go convert this to a mixed number. 13 divided by 6 is a no. But 12 divided by 6, that's a yes. That gives you 2. And what's going to be left over? 1/6 is going to be left over. So this is equivalent to 2 and 1/6. So instead of using these improper fractions, we're going to use these mixed numbers instead, and it'll be easier to see the answer. So let's go set up a table here using all 5 of these values, and we'll have a column for yes and a column for no. So on your scratch paper, instead of x is less than 1, we're going to write negative 5/8 is less than 1. So that'll be our first line. Write down negative 5/8 is less than 1. Next is this 1/7. So we have 1/7 is less than 1. Now negative 3.5. Negative 3 and 1/2 is less than 1. Next is 1.5. 1 and 1/2 is less than 1. And finally, we have 2 and 1/6. So 2 and 1/6 is less than 1. So we're going to test every single one of these values. And let's box this one here so we don't get it confused with one of the answer choices. So we need to answer yes or no about whether each of these statements is true. Here we go. So first one, -5/8 is less than 1. And a negative is always less than a positive, so this one is true. This is a yes. Check off yes. Next one, let's test 1/7 is less than 1. So this is a whole number. This is a fraction less than 1. So it is true that 1/7 is less than 1. Check off yes. Next one, -3 and 1/2 is less than 1. So this is a negative value. This is a positive value. Negative is always smaller than positive. So that means this one is true. Next, we have 1 and 1/2 is less than 1. And here we have 1 plus a little bit more. And on the other side, we just have a 1. So 1 and 1/2 is actually greater than 1, which means this statement is false. Click on no. And finally, we have 2 and 1/6 is less than 1. And again, this whole number 2 is greater than 1. So that means this statement is false as well. Check off no. And there are your answer choices. Yes, yes, yes. No, no. Check it off. Yes, yes, yes. No, and no. Problem number 8 is done. Go ahead and close it off. Here is problem number 9. Select all the sets of numbers that are possible values for x in the inequality x is less than -3. So to make this easier to work with, go write this inequality closer to the answer choices. X is less than -3. Here we go. So here's x is less than -3. And for each line, we need to substitute each value in place of x. So starting with this first line, we'll test it with 5, then test 7, and then test 9 to see if it's true. So first one, let's test 5. So we, instead of x is less than -3, we're going to test 5 is less than -3. Positive is always greater than -3, not less than. So we know that this one here is false. And as soon as one of the elements is incorrect, you can just cross off the whole line. So first answer choice is a no. Switching to blue, let's go attack the second line. So we're going to test -9, then test -7, and then test -5. Starting with -9. -9 is less than -3. So they're both negative. The one closer to 0 is bigger, so -3 is bigger, which means -9 is smaller. So it's true that -9 is less than -3. In blue, this is correct. Next, test -7. -7 is less than -3. And again, this is true, so check off -7. And finally, test -5. So we have -5 is less than -3. And once again, this is true. If they're both negative, the number closer to 0 is bigger, which means -5 is smaller. So the statement is true. And since every element in that line was correct, then line 2 as a whole is correct as well. Switching to green. Let's test every single one of these elements, starting with negative 33. So negative 33 is less than negative 3. This is true. Check it off in green. Next, test negative 22. Negative 22 is less than negative 3. That is true as well, so check it off. And finally, test negative 11. Negative 11 is less than negative 3. This is true as well, so check it off in green. And since every element in line 3 is correct, line 3 as a whole is correct as well. Last line, switching to purple. So let's test every single one of these elements instead of x. First one, negative 5. Negative 5 is less than negative 3. That is true. So purple, check it off. Next one, test 0. 0 is less than negative 3. And this is false because all negative numbers are smaller than 0, but this one is saying that 0 is less than this negative number. So the 0 is incorrect. Cross that off. And as soon as one of the elements is wrong, you can just cross off the whole line. You don't even need to check the others. So the correct choices for problem number 9 are choice 2 and 3. Let's go write that on our scratch paper. So here's box 9. Draw 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The correct choices were 2 and 3. So check off 2 and 3. Choice 1 was incorrect. Cross it off. Choice 4 was also incorrect. Cross it off. So the correct choices are 2 and 3. There's choices 2 and 3. And problem 9 is done. Close it off.